This is the AOC Sports High School Football Preview Show.
So, hey, we get to do it again this week. A little early, another week of high school football season, but we get to get another one in. And this one, we've had a hurricane before. We're dealing with one now. So watching this, it's on Thursday night. And we were just saying, you know, have we done this before? And Jared was like, yeah, Jim, we did it last year. Yeah.
Because of a hurricane.
Yeah.
And it was a Saraland game last year. And speaking of Saraland, before we do this game before a hurricane, we've already done a game after a hurricane. Remember that one? But last week, Saraland hosting Spanish Fort. Game had big-time names, big-time billing, and it really lived up to it. Yeah, Jim Cox, Dan Brennan here with you as we get ready for our matchup tonight. Satsuma traveling to UMS to take on the Bulldogs. And that game going back last week, Dan, you know, we knew it was going to be a pretty evenly matched game. It was why it was Friday Night Rivals, game of the week. But boy, Marion Crawford going down like that, that really changed around, I think, a lot of what Saraland wanted to do on offense. But you can't take anything away from that Spanish Fort defense. No, the Spanish Fort defense was really physical. I think the difference, we've talked about this in the past, Saraland is really good this year, but they're not like the team from a couple of years ago that was a highly ranked team, because they're really not quite as physical. That was a downhill running football team. You knew which was coming at you. The question was, could you stop it? This year, the Saraland team is good, but they're more talented on the flanks. They got a quarterback that can make some things happen, and I just think the matchup with that Spanish Fort defense wasn't all that good for them. It was not favorable. Spanish Fort is physical, and they are Spanish Fort. They've never lost at Saraland. Saraland came in ranked number 2 in the state, undefeated, but like the Toros, they were the Toros before the game too. Yep. I mean, they were confident. They knew that they were going to put a big battle that night up against Saraland, and they did it. So big win for the Toros. Dr. Cesar Roca here with us to talk sports medicine as we do before our games each week. Shoulder injuries, certainly you think about it a lot, maybe with quarterbacks and injuries with trauma falling on it. But so you have a shoulder separation is one type of injury, and then a shoulder dislocation. That's the big two, right?
Yeah, I think this is quite a pertinent topic, particularly when we're talking about physical games, you know. And so there's always a confusion as to shoulder dislocation or shoulder separation. So basically, simplistically, let's just tell you that there are 2 major joints in the shoulder. You have the acromioclavicular joint, where the collarbone, the clavicle meets the shoulder blade. And then there is the glenohumeral joint, where there's basically the ball and socket meet. So when we have a shoulder dislocation, that means the ball separates completely from the socket. When you have a shoulder separation, it means the clavicle has separated from the acromion. There are technically 2 dislocations, but when someone says separation, it's I don't want to say it's a more benign injury, but it is a little different, right?
Now, of course, Doc, explaining that for viewers at home. We knew that. we knew that. Explain that for the viewers at home. But I'm guessing because it's a lot of times it is a trauma-based injury.
Right.
Is there a lot you can do to prevent that, other than not being traumatized?
Well, yeah, again, so they're basically traumatic injuries, right? So, and there's also a mechanism of injury. So if a player falls directly on his shoulder, say he has flipped over the line and he lands on his shoulder and hits the top, that's usually when the clavicle separates. And there are degrees. I mean, so if it's just it could be just together, or it could be completely separated. Dislocation happens if, for instance, if a quarterback is about to pass and gets hit on the elbow and does this, or if someone is trying to tackle another player, grabs the player, and the player continues to go. So one is technique. For instance, you flipped over, you fall, learn how to roll so you don't fall around your shoulder. Stay strong. Basically, you know, bench press, military, get your neck strong. But if you one preventive thing, that if you're someone who's tackling, and the player's getting away from you, don't stay there, because it's going to dislocate. A safe place to be is here. So if you're going for a ball, and of course in the heat of battle, sure, anything can happen. But staying strong following your coach's guidelines on how to, proper techniques, etc. Because I mean, the coaches know you do this, you're going to dislocate. Sure. So try to use good technique and stay in shape.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and you see it so many times. A quarterback, everybody holds their breath when you have a quarterback coming down, especially when they come on that throwing shoulder.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
As always, we'll come back. We'll get you ready for our matchup tonight. 5A battle, Satsuma taking on UMS. We're going to hear all about the Gators, and we'll start talking about them right after this. And we are back at AOC Sports, getting ready for our Friday night rivals. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, excited for our 5A matchup tonight. The UMS-Wright Bulldogs at home, taking on the Satsuma Gators. And it's, first game Dan and I ever did together at Satsuma. Ron Lee was the coach, taking on Mary G., and that was back in 2000. And I'm trying,
I don't think we've seen the Gators ever since, but they've earned their way. They've earned their right to come back to UTV 44, and we got a couple of great representatives from the school and the team with us right now.
Coach Ray Nelson is with them, and if you're a high school football fan, you remember the great numbers he put up at Theodore when they were just scoring points all over. Went to Sanford, just started for 4 years there, set all kinds of passing records there. But then there's
he was the offensive player of the year for the First and 10 Club, and I was the MC of the First and 10 Club for years and years. That was for, at that time, it might have been the Mobile, Alabama Bowl, and it since has had a couple of different names. But I met Coach Nelson when he was a senior in high school to give him that award, and as I'm recalling, reading the statistics, talking about how many points they were scoring a game, it was like astounding for that time. It really was.
Yeah, and it's all right. So Coach, you're at Theodore, obviously quarterback, lighting it up. Go to Sanford, a little time in the Arena League, came back here, got into coaching. I know it was you were at Theodore, but like you spent a lot of time on the defensive side of the ball in coaching as well. You were the DC at Satsuma before being named the head coach. I guess you always think about guys. Our defensive players, high school, college, start on that side of the ball, but quarterback does know a little bit about something what's going on over there too, right?
That's right. When you come up, especially in Mobile County, trying to be a young coach, those older guys make you pay your dues. So you can come back, think you're an offensive guy, you're a hot shot, you know it all, but they're going to make you do the laundry, they're going to make you line the field, and they're going to make you learn a little football from the other perspective. So we definitely did, as young coaches, had to earn our way. So I had to go to the defense side of the ball and try to pay my dues and try to be a good coach.
And obviously it's worked off to a great start in region play. While you're on TV tonight, you got to be happy with where your team is right now.
We are. Coming into this season, we had 20 seniors, so we felt really good about our chances this year. We're in a difficult region, being in Region 1, down here in the Mobile, Baldwin County, 5A, so it's tough. And I got some legendary coaches in this region with me, with Coach Curtis, Coach Mass, and Coach French over there. So we're just trying to hold our own, and, we rely on our seniors and our senior leadership to get us through. Moving forward.
Yeah, one thing that you said to me outside, I really love to hear, and you just said we've got some really great kids up at Satsuma. It's really a pleasure going to work every day. Talk about that experience in the school and the atmosphere up there.
It's a great school. We got our own school system there. The kids are great. I'm telling you, the 8 to 3 school day is perfect for a high school coach. Any coach get up here in this seat, we tell you, we know we get to enjoy practice after 3 o'clock, but you got to make your money going from 8 to 3. In the community we have up there, the support, the administrative support we have, and the kids, type of kids, the character kids we have, makes that job a great job.
But you're a coach who's super involved in the classroom too.
Oh yes, sir.
There's a lot of coaches that are maybe they don't have to be as involved in the classroom. Like you're very on the special education side of things too.
Yes, sir. We're definitely a teacher first. I'm a teacher first. I'm a coach second. When I email people at the bottom, it does say special education teacher. Then it says head football coach. So we definitely take the teaching aspect of the profession very seriously.
Awesome. Talk about the young player you brought with you today.
He's one of our senior captains. Again, we got 20 seniors, and you're talking about a guy that has great leadership skills. He's a defensive back. He's a guy that played outside linebacker, inside backer for us last year. He's worked tremendously hard over the summer to improve his agility and his speed. And I think he's a rangy guy. He's a smart guy. He's a coach on the field. You know, we think he's an extension of the defensive coordinator and defensive staff. And, I mean, Nathan's just a kid that he's such a positive kid. You know, things he said in the locker room and on the field, the other guys rally behind. So any coach can tell you a player-led team is a good team. And we have that in Nathan. We have that in our seniors.
Nathan Booth is, you know, we've talked to a lot of seniors now as we're in, I guess, our 8th week of doing high school football year here this year. With everything that's been going on, the challenges, like what's it been like for you as a senior, of a leader with a team, of everything you've gone through, from no spring football, COVID, hurricanes, what's your senior year been like?
Yes, sir. I think it's been a lot different this year than it is in the past, but I feel like the bond we have with our team and all, it's been one thing that's helped me get through this year. With the 20-something seniors, it's a big brotherhood of us, and I feel like everybody has their own part in leadership, and everybody rallying together has kind of made things seem normal. It's just another football season that it's going to take all of us to win.
What do you see when you look at this UMS team as you get ready to take them on tonight?
Yes, sir. Well, every game, the next game is big to us because it's the next one, and we look at it. I mean, it's a region game, but it's no different than any other. We prepared all week. We've worked hard all week, and now it's just time to play and let things happen.
What does it feel like on a Friday night, in this case, because of a hurricane, it's going to be a Thursday night, walking out on that field, knowing here we go, about to kick it off in a couple of minutes? Talk about that emotion.
It's exciting for sure. You know, everybody says nothing can beat the Friday night lights, and I feel like, I mean, from what I've experienced, I believe that's true, and it's an exciting thing to have. And to me, I'm kind of glad the game's a day early because you can't take the anticipation for it.
That's awesome.
Talk a little bit about your coach. What's it been like playing for Coach Nelson?
Yes, sir. I love Coach Nelson, and I came to Satsuma 2 years ago, and that's been one of the best people in my life. He's really showed me what being a true leader is, and how football is not just all about the game. It can transfer to life. The hard work plays into it. You know, being a leader on and off the field, it's not all just about the game, but it's about leading the people in front of you and creating that brotherhood.
Some young men just have it.
Yeah.
They just have it. Yeah. And it's our pleasure to get to see him here on the pregame show.
And for all of you to visit with him as well.
All right. Be safe out there tonight, Coach. We'll see you back in the last segment as the Satsuma Gators on the road tonight, traveling just this way up Old Shell Road to take on UMS tonight here on Friday Night Rivals Big 5A Region 1 matchup. Playoff implications on the line here tonight. And we'll hear from head coach Terry Curtis and the Bulldogs coming up right after this. Back at it for another game here on Friday Night Rivals. Jim Cox and Dan Brennan at AOC Sports as we get ready for our 8th week of the broadcast season here on Friday Night Rivals. And we're back at UMS tonight. And again, if you're tuning in now, Thursday night game, all the games getting bumped up because of the hurricane on Friday. So hopefully we're getting this one in safe and mostly dry. UMS-Wright here, head coach Terry Curtis, Colby Stafford, wide receiver for the Bulldogs, here with us as well. Coach, we've had you on 3 times, so we've talked a lot about the challenges you've gone through, but it's a bit of a different challenge, I would guess, just to where you're at in the standings right now, where these a lot of these young men haven't faced this type of, I'll say, adversity in the standings the past few years.
Well, you know, 2 overtimes and a 2-point game, and you know, they could have gone either way, and you know, our forte is we're not really a goal line team. We're small. You know, so by the rules, you know, we get in overtime, we're not the favorite. You know, we don't have a big package or anything like that, and other teams do. So, you know, we've had our chances not to get to there and do that, but, you know, we had 5 turnovers last week, and, you know, against a good faith team, and if you have 5 turnovers against anybody, you're going to have a hard time winning. And, you know, we're doing a lot of things that are not right. We had, I think, 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles, and, you know, we just got to protect the football and do a better job. And we get down there, you know, we're on the 2-yard line one time and have a holding penalty. You know, we end up back on the 40, and we scored a touchdown on, you know. And so it is what it is. And, you know, the coaches have got to react. The players have to react. And, you know, and something's got to change. Or these people are going to keep on taking advantage of it. You know, Satsuma's a very worthy team. I've watched Ramon. He's built that team. He's done a great job with them. You know, here's a guy who lost his 3-year starter at quarterback to another team his senior year. He loses his best running back in the 3rd game of the year to an injury. So he loses his 2 best players, and yet they're staying competitive and they keep fighting and doing what they need to do. And that's what this game's all about, you know. I've been doing this a long time, and you know, it's easy to fold the tent when you lose your best 2 players and everybody looks around, but they haven't done that.
You know, one thing, and Coach Nelson was talking about saying, I've got some legends in my region I have to go up against, yourself, Coach Mass, Coach French, but like, and we've said this 100 times, I don't know if there's a coach who has the caliber and respect that you do that loves to influence young coaches. I mean, that's one thing you, and not just coaches on your staff, I mean, you love to be a resource and a mentor to other young coaches like Coach Nelson.
I love coaches.
Yeah.
And I love to watch them coach. I love how they not just scheme, but how they handle their team. You know, you can tell a lot about a person by how they handle their team, just like what I was just talking about. Mm-hmm. You know, and they keep playing hard. They keep fighting. They may not have the weapons they had a month or 3 months ago, you know, but yet they're still fighting and they're still playing. That's a tribute to the coaches. They are the ones. It's easy when that happens to lose the team. Yep. They start looking around and say, oh, we lost our running back. Man, we ain't got a chance. Right. You know, but they keep fighting, they keep playing, and he's going to be one of the good ones.
Colby Stafford, I guess he's been player of the game. He's been Scholastic Athlete of the Week, so it's about time we bring him on TV, right?
Yeah, Colby, were you like fast when you were 5 years old? Did you develop the speed? And seriously, do you work on it? Do you do things that enhance your speed and like someone gets bigger and stronger with weights? Do you exercise in a way where your speed is something that you want to take it to the highest level?
Yes, sir. I mean, even since I was young, I've always been pretty fast. Like, I've always been the fastest one in the class. And I'm just like, I'll work at it. And when we go in the weight room, I'm going to put everything I have into it and make sure. And, like, during the off season of this past year, I was really focusing on trying to get as fast as I can for this year because I wanted to help our team out in the best ways possible.
You look at all levels of sport. There's a lot of fast guys, maybe not as fast as you, but there's a lot more than, you got to know how to use your speed. And a lot of times you're going up against fast people as well. So it's more than just being the fastest kid in class, right?
Oh, yes. It takes a lot more than that. I mean, when you get out on the field, I mean, it's a different game. I mean, everybody's fast when you get out there. And, I mean, you just got to know what to do when you're, like, in different situations. And it takes a lot of practice. And
I can tell you this, when you're watching tonight, 2 knows what to do. He's got it figured out. And really competitive, too. You've got some wide receivers, too, Terry. We don't talk about this much. You got some guys that can run, and they really compete for the ball. They've got good ball skills. When you do get the ball downfield, you can make some things happen.
Well, that's the key. And when you, like, talking about, you know, I've coached at Shaw, Murphy, at UMS. I've had a lot of fast guys. But they wasn't very good running backs. They could never get open, whatever. You've got, you know, the guys that are fast and yet know how to do what they do, whether it's route running, whether it's being able to see the field as a running back or a linebacker or whatever. You know, it's not about just being fast. You've got to have some football smarts and kind of know what's going on. And Colby has, you know, has come on, he played behind Keyshawn last year. He paid attention to how Keyshawn ran routes. So, you know, it was a pretty seamless transition when he took over. So yeah, it's just, he's been a pleasure to coach. He's a great kid and does the things the right way, coachable. And that's always big.
Great in the classroom as well, and just always wants that ball. That against the game against Baker, it's just kind of squirting around. Next thing you know, it's back for the touchdown. Great seeing you. Be safe out there tonight. Coach, stick around for the last segment here. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up as we get ready for our 5A Region-1 matchup tonight. Satsuma going up against UMS-Wright. We'll kick it off in about 10 minutes right here on Friday Night Rivals. Friday Night Rivals here on UTV 44 as we get ready for our 5A Region 1 matchup between UMS-Wright and the Satsuma Gators. Coach Ray Nelson here, and Ramon, like you said, this is always going to be Ramon.
I just know Ramon. I know he goes by Ray now.
Coach, Jared Kihas, our producer, reached out to you last week and said, hey, we're going to have your team on. I know you were excited. The kids were excited. I mean, you're excited about being on Friday Night Rivals tonight.
Hey, we are. I'm going to be honest. We don't get much attention up there. We don't get much exposure. And for our school system, our community, our kids, our program to have this opportunity is huge. We don't take it lightly, and we are extremely grateful for the opportunity.
Well, we're excited. You mentioned, being a standalone school system. I mean, you look around the state and other places, like you really, I don't want to say it's easier to build a program, but you have some more wide-ranging control to help build something from the ground up inside of your own city school system.
We do. We try to keep all of our kids in-house, and that's difficult in the time we live in, but we do get a chance to put the eyes on our kids when they are in elementary, coming up through our middle school program, and hopefully we keep them when they're in high school.
I mean, you've worn some good-looking blazers on the show here too, but that's a good.
That's a nice.
That's a good-looking blazer here. So,
but I'm going to tell you now, and that's where when we talked about changing this game to Thursday. One of the first questions Ramon asked me goes, Coach, we still TV, right? I said, yeah, they've already told us they will move it to Thursday because it was a big deal. Yeah, and it is these teams, and that's great.
And it is awesome.
We've said it 100 times. Like when we first started doing this in 2000, he was one of the first guys who got behind this whole thing and said, this is good for sports. It's good for the athletes. Put these games on TV. So we wrap up the show with this little thing called Like It, Love It, Steer Clear of It. It's not nearly as complicated as it sounds. The first one is a cooking question, so I won't start with him because somebody once said to Terry Curtis one time, Mr. and Mrs. Curtis, you have a very nice kitchen in your house. What's that for? Coach Curtis said, resale. Doesn't do a lot of cooking.
Don't forget anything.
No grease stain.
Cooking a brisket, Dan Brennan.
I still steer clear.
Stay clear.
Well, so after the last game 2 weeks ago, came home, fired up the Kamado Joe, put one on for the first time at midnight, and 18 hours later, yeah, I'm not bad.
I would need some of that stuff.
Kale. Kale.
What is that?
Kale.
I can explain what it is, but I don't want it.
No. Kale?
Steer clear.
Oh, my God. All right, so now we'll get to the really fun part. Chicago Bears took a tough one last week, getting 5.5 tonight at home against Tom Brady and the Bucks.
They get beat again.
Ooh, he says steer clear of it.
Yeah, you got to steer clear of that.
You like the Bears getting 5.5 at home?
No, I'm a Packers fan. I hope the Bucks cover. Packers fan.
So I'm not sure Satsuma's ever. I'm not sure Satsuma's ever going to be on TV. Sorry, kids, Packers fans.
I hope you send a lot of wine.
Let's see. Georgia laying 12 in the hook against Tennessee.
Yeah, I like it.
Love it.
Nope.
I steer clear of that one.
Bitter. You're a bitter man.
Yeah,
Arkansas getting 14 on the Plains.
Steer clear.